Thank you, comrades. Now, comrades, God is good, and all the time. Asanteni sana. Comrades, power. Comrades, ria. Comrades, ra. Comrades, tibim. Comrades, tialala. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much to the chief guest, Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Professor Kiama, Honorable Dr. Charles, Member of Parliament, members of the County Assembly, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, friends, comrades and enemies, if there is any. I may be lying if I want to say that there is not even one person. But anyway, good evening. Thank you very much, comrades. I'm here as a comrade to talk about transition from student leadership into the national political environment or arena. And as a comrade, I'll just base my speech on my story, how things started and how they've been moving. Babu. Comrades, in the book of Luke 19, 11 to 27, Asanteni sana. Asanteni sana. The Bible says that there was a master who was planning to travel. The master was supposed to be crowned a king. Then before the master traveled, he called his 3 servants. The first servant, he gave 5 minas. The second servant, he gave 3 minas. And the last servant, he gave 1 mina. Then when the master traveled, he came back after some time. Then called back his servants and asked them, what did you do with the minas, or currently the money, or currently the leadership that I gave you? Then the one that was given 5, the servant came forward and said, Master, you gave me 5, I gained an additional 5, and now I have 10. The master said, because of your hard work, if you've given 5 extra, I'll give you 10 cities to manage. Then the next one that was given 3 minas told the master that he had accumulated 6 minas. Then he was given 6 cities to manage. Then the last servant came and said, Master, I knew you'd come back. And I knew that you are a very bad man. And I knew that you would come back and ask for your mina. Therefore, I buried it somewhere and I've brought it back to you. So have it back. Then the master said that this servant was a foolish servant. Then he took the 1 mina away from the servant and chased him away. And the Bible says that the little that you have, if you don't use it well, shall be taken away from you and given to those who have. As student leaders, what will you do with your minas? As student leaders, what will you do to transform, to change the lives of fellow comrades who elected you, who believed in you, that you are the only person who could fight for their inalienable interests? Then, as a student leader, having passed through that process, we are here because of education. Were it not for education, I would have never come to Nairobi. Honorable Ndindi would have never gone to the university. Were it not for education, he would have never been a student leader. I would have never been a student leader. Professor, you would have never been a vice chancellor. Dr. Charles, you would have never been where you are. Brian, you would have never been here and where you are working. Were it not for education, we would not be seated here today. And therefore, the most important thing that we must respect is education. The roots of education are very bitter, but the fruits are very sweet. And education is the only equalizer. The gentleman you are seeing here, my mother was selling changa. Today I can sit here on the table. Lindi Nyoro that you are seeing here, alikuwa na shona mpaka viatu. Today you can see him here. If you listen to the story of Professor, where he came from, very humble background, today he is seated here. And therefore, with education, you shall never go wrong. And we say education is an equalizer. And through education, in campus, I learned that at the university, the most two important certificates that you can come out with from the university are two important certificates. One is the degree certificate, and two is the marriage certificate. Because if you are a comrade, then you will just want to have another comrade. It doesn't matter even if you don't get that comrade during the time that you are graduating, but you will gravitate towards that comrade. Okay? Therefore, comrades, whatever you do at the university, you must make sure that you graduate. Because if you don't graduate, then you shall be called a Form 4 drop. Irrespective of which year you are. If you are doing medicine and you can't do your 6th year, a Form 4 dropout. If you are doing engineering and you are in your 5th year and you don't graduate, a Form 4 dropout. If you do actuarial science or economics and you reach your 4th year, 2nd semester, and you don't graduate, so comrades, whatever you do, ensure that the most important thing is a degree certificate. As student leaders, it's not very easy to graduate from any university. As a student leader, especially if you are a strong-willed student leader. Because number one, all the lecturers will not like you. Because you are the one who is bringing maandamano. Right? And at any specific time, you can never graduate because that lecturer thinks and feels that you are undermining them. And therefore, also elections are coming towards, when exams are just at the corner, that's when elections used to be held at the university. Professor Kiama that you are seeing here today conducted my 3 elections. In Sonu, he was the electoral chair and conducted 3 elections. And that's why, Professor, I don't see the reason why anybody should intimidate you, because you've seen the worst. Professor has seen the worst. And Professor has seen also the best of the politicians, way from the university. And therefore, Professor, I urge you, the most important subjects are these comrades. Comrades from the University of Nairobi. You will never get the best Vice Chancellor as Professor Kiama. I'm telling you the truth. Why? In the history of Students' Union, this is the only Vice Chancellor who has managed to return all the suspended and expelled student leaders to the university. And therefore, as Babu Owino, and I was talking to Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, and we did agree that we need to protect Professor. Yes. As students and student leaders, this is the man to protect. You will never get any better. And therefore, if I come back to the topic that I was discussing, as a student leader, what will you be remembered for? as a student leader, will you be remembered for being a student leader who was elected unanimously by the comrades, and that student leader disappointed the comrades? Or will you be a student leader who will be remembered for having fought for the students who elected you? Will you be a student leader whom after elections, then you can manage now from drinking konyagi and radish, then you move to whiskey and beers, and if you had one girlfriend or you didn't have any, now you start having 2 or 5? Or will you be a student leader who will be remembered for having put aside his selfish interest and advocated for the rights of the students? The answer is yours. We've seen in the history in this world what students are capable of doing. From movements to uprisings, stroke revolutions. We've seen in different countries. In the United States of America, in Florida, there was the March for Our Lives, started by students, headed by student leaders. The White Rose was in the Nazi Germany, a movement started by students. Tiananmen Square and massacre in China, started by students. The Velvet Revolution in Czechoslovakia, started by students, headed by student leaders. The Tlatelolco massacre in Mexico or Mexico, started by students. In Africa, the Soweto uprising against discrimination of the blacks, the apartheid regime, started by students. If we come to Kenya in 1982, the revolution that lasted shortly, the coup in 1982, students were involved. The Arab Springs in Egypt, in Tunisia, and also in Sudan, students were involved. Therefore, you can see what students can do. Students can change the whole world. A student is the most dangerous weapon that, when not handled well, can destroy the whole universe. As Babu Owino, thank you. We will be there no matter. Thank you. As Babu Owino, my leadership journey started at Central Primary School. I was ready even before I was born. In my primary school, I was a prefect from class 3, class 4, class 5, class 6, then class 7 I was the assistant head boy, then class 8 I was the head boy. Then there was a transition to high school, where I was a student leader Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4 at Kisumu Boys High School. Then I managed to do my A-levels, the Cambridge system, when I got a scholarship. Personally, I was called to do business management at Egerton University. I opted to go and do A-levels because I knew that probably the closest place to Nairobi was JKIA, that I had hope that I could fly out because of the poverty that was in Kenya. I was trying to run away from poverty, but it is that same poverty that was motivating me to work hard from Nyalenda slums. Then A-levels, I was a student leader for 2 terms. Then joined the University of Nairobi, where I served as a student leader for 4 terms. I was the longest serving student leader on earth. Then, from that, during my first term as a student leader, that was in the year 2011-2012, we served successfully. I was also the president of KUSO for the 4 terms. Then, I had 1 year break, then came back to the University of Nairobi, where now Professor Kiama started conducting my elections. 2014, 2015, 2015, 2016, 2016, 2017. I was the first student leader to have resigned, democratically resigned after being elected as a member of parliament. That was in 2017, meaning I was elected as a student leader and elected in parliament as a student leader. But now, what was making these students not lose interest or hope in me as a student leader? The answer is simple. During my reign as a student leader, I used to work. I used to work for students. And I used to work with the administration, not for the administration. Consulting. With. Therefore, if there were delays in help, people are born differently, people have different leadership skills, but my leadership skill was a little bit different because my answers were in the streets. There are people whose answers are gifted when they negotiate. But mine, I used to negotiate in the streets. Now in the streets, we gained a bad name in the eyes of the public because members of the public were inhaling tear gas left, right, and center as students were benefiting. But that didn't matter. I didn't stop there. If fee was being increased, and I remember there was a time, right now the current President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto, was the Minister for Higher Education. And there was an idea that social sciences were to be scrapped off. And I remember we demonstrated. And I remember then the President saying that he never had that idea. When Professor Kaimenyi was a Minister for Education, he also came up with the idea of increasing university fees. We also held demonstrations, fees were never increased. When students were being arbitrarily suspended or expelled, we stopped singing and we started swinging in the streets and we got our results. Students were being brought back to campus. When there were matters in security in the university, I worked for the comrades. Any issue that involved comrades in this country, we worked for the comrades. That is why we are here. That is why I'm where I am today. I'm where I am today because of the student leadership. That's why when I see student leaders not working, it pains me because you are losing a golden opportunity, an opportunity to transform the lives of Kenyans at a different level, in higher echelons, an opportunity to transform your own life. All of you here, 99% of you come from very, very poor backgrounds, very humble backgrounds. That is the truth. If you look back, the question is, the position that you've been given, the position that God has given you, how will you use it to transform the lives of those people you've left behind? And that poverty should motivate you. It's a springboard. It should tell you where you are going next. The student leaders who are here, by 2027, you should either be a member of the county assembly, or a member of the National Assembly, or a member of the Senate, or a women rep, National Assembly, or a governor. Tunaelewana vizuri? Or you should be nominated. Or, if you don't venture into the political world and you're in the corporate world, then you should be a CEO of either your own company or another company that you'll be managing. Or you should be in any other leadership position from wherever you will be, because you are a leader. And leadership comes from the Almighty God. And God has selected you to be a leader. The question is, will you be there? Us, very soon we'll be leaving the positions that we are having, but we need people who will fill these positions. We need you in these positions. And comrades, promise me as student leaders that you will not disappoint yourself. You are not doing it for me, nor any other person here, nor even your parents, but for you. So therefore, you must work hard. You must work hard. As you work hard, make sure you achieve things that are existing as at now, because life is about the isness, not the oughtness. Oughtness is about tomorrow. Isness is about today. So achieve what you should achieve today. That is what will lead you to achieve what you will achieve tomorrow. Are we in agreement, comrades? Yes. Comrades here. Yeah. Comrades ra. Yeah. Comrades power. Power. As I summarize, comrades, I don't want you to just work in offices for the sake of working in offices. As you work in these offices, that office holder, make sure you aspire to be like that office holder, or even better. Do not just walk in and walk out. Because remember, your term is only one term. After that one term, another leader is coming in. So what makes you think that after that one term has expired, then even the relationship between you and that leader you're going to see has expired, will expire, because that leader will be looking at the next person who is going to occupy that seat. And therefore, you must build yourself. We cannot build you more than you can build yourself. When there are issues in this country, you must stand up and speak. Those issues are affecting you. Those issues are affecting your parents. Those issues are affecting everybody. And therefore, you must never sit on your hands. You must always rise to the occasion. And you must ensure that you transform your life, comrade. Because as a student leader, from where I'm seeing you, the only difference between me and you is only time. When I look at you, I see myself. And when I look at myself, I can see you. And I can see you as a leader. But some of you are not seeing yourselves as leaders. But you are seeing yourselves as dealers. Some of you are not seeing yourselves as visionaries, but you are seeing yourselves as missionaries. A mission not to serve students, a mission to serve your selfish interest, a mission to waste the comrade's vote. But you should see yourself as a visionary leader with a vision to transform the lives of those people who elected you. A vision to change yourself, and a vision to be the best that has never existed before. Comrades, thank you very much. I want to take this opportunity to thank you once again. Our doors will always be open for you guys. Mheshimiwa Ndindi, as you can see here, and I'm telling you, I knew that I was going to be a member of parliament in 2017. I knew. And I also know where I'm going. Mheshimiwa Ndindi and myself, I'm telling you, today is in Kenya Kwanza. Today I'm in Azimio, ODM. We are both loyal to our parties and to our party leaders. I'm loyal to Raila Amolo Odinga. Honorable Ndindi is loyal to President Ruto. And therefore, in the foreseeable future, and not many years, all these leaders whom we are loyal to, they will not exist in the political arena at some point. Even us, our time will not be there at some point because of the doctrine of lapse of time, or the doctrine of Comorian taste. If you do law of succession, you know that if two people die, then you are asked that who died first. If you don't know, then it is presumed that the person with the older age must have died first. But I'm not wishing anybody death. I'm just imagining that is where we are headed. There's something called momentum mori, that eventually we will all die. So it is not also wrong to think about it, right? But therefore, the way you are seeing us here is the way you will see us in the future. And we are going to make that future. Because if not us, plus Honorable Charles, who has a very clear mind, who will form part of the deep state, then who else? Who else? So asanteni sana, Mwenyezi Mungu awabariki. Professor, mimi nakuonea huruma sana, but I will stand with you. Mimi nita fight by your side. I know that you are a good man. You mean well. You have a clean heart. There are vice chancellors who didn't mean well, but you mean well. Otherwise, Mwenyezi Mungu awabariki sana. Asanteni sana. Mungu awabariki.
Thank you so much. Before you go, tafadhali